And I'm going to get right into it. Thanks to Interstate Music out there, their YouTube channel. I'm going to put them in the description below because they've allowed us the opportunity to play a couple of Marla's hits on the show, performed by the songwriter, which I always think is a cool thing to watch, right? Like, because the marriage between artist and song is one thing, but to hear it from the original songwriter, the creator, essentially, is just a super different vibe. But I got to tell you the story about how I heard "The Fool" the first
Oh
time
wow.
because
Okay, I can't wait.
I think you might appreciate this. But it was the 72nd birthday of the Grand Ole Opry, 1997. And
Yeah.
I had taken my parents to visit the Grand Ole Opry for the very first time. They had never been there before, and we went to the grocery store to get some snacks for the hotel room. And the grocery store was giving away tickets to a show that had Lee Ann Womack, Billy Gilman, Clay Davidson, the Warren brothers. I remember this like it was yesterday. And the very first time I heard "The Fool" was done live in concert. I hadn't heard it on the radio. It was brand new at that time. And I knew who you were the next day because I had to find out who wrote the song.
Oh wow, that's
That's
crazy.
always been me throughout my existence. I have to know who wrote it. Who wrote it? And so I've known your name for
That's
25
crazy.
years now. And so this is a big moment for me to have you on the show. Tell us about the song, how it came to be.
Actually, I was at that same show at the
Were
Grand
you
Ole Opry that
now?
night. Yeah, I was. I got to go watch.
Oh my
Yeah, what was
gosh.
Diamond Rio on that night
They
too?
were, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Every time I've had a song played on the Opry, Diamond Rio's been there.
That's the opposite of a problem.
It's crazy. Um, well, actually, I was writing with my friend Gene Ellsworth, and we were working on a song called "Which Way Is Left," and the way it actually went was, "Someone tell me which way is left. I know that's where he's gone." And it was terrible. The song was terrible. So we put the melody down and we changed the melody up and made it, "Somebody tell me which way is left," and it still sucked. So, needless to say, it hasn't seen the light of day. But fast forward probably 4 or 5 months, and I was driving down Music Row, and some car pulled out in front of me, and I slammed on my brakes. And when I did, a cassette flew out from under my seat, and all it said on it was "Melody." And I reached down out of the floorboard and I put it in. I popped it in my tape player. And before they put the roundabouts down on Music Row, there was the Country Music Hall of Fame was right there on the corner. And I call them roundabouts because that's what my mom calls them,
Mm-hmm.
because they're all naked. Uh, but I was right in front of the Hall of Fame when that melody line hit, and just I mean, I know it came from God because I just thought in my brain, "I'm the fool in love with the fool who's still in love with you." And so all the way home, I didn't have a phone. All I had was a pager at the time, and all the way home, I sang it to myself over and over and over. And by the time I got home, I I was thinking to myself, I don't know if it makes any sense. So I called Gene Ellsworth, one of my co-writers, and I asked him, I said, "Does this make any sense?" And I sang, "I'm the fool in love with the fool who's still in love with you." And he goes, "Hell yeah, what is that?" And I said, "That's that melody we had." I said, "I just got that idea." I said, "Do you get it?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a woman who's talking to a woman who's the guy she's in love with is still in love with." And I was like, "Yeah, that's it." So the next time he was coming to town, we were going to write. And the funniest part of this whole story is, and Craig Morgan loves to tell this story, is I had called him to see what he was doing that day, and he was doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
And because we were going to see if he wanted to write with me and Gene, because he was working on a new record and he was busy. And so I called my friend Charlie Steffel, who, um, when I started writing songs, Charlie was the first person that ever sat down in a room and wrote a song with me.
Mm-hmm.
And Gene Ellsworth was the second person that ever sat down in a room and wrote a song with me. And this was the first time the three of us sat down and wrote together when we wrote The Fool.
That's incredible stuff. I want to talk a little bit more about the song after we present the performance of it because I do have a couple of questions about "The Fool" I have to ask before we get into
Okay.
the crux of the episode. But y'all check it out. It's a live performance from Marla Cannon-Goodman, "The Fool," right here on the show.
Mind if I sit down? Do I look familiar? If I don't, well, I should. I'm sure you've seen me around, and I know you've probably heard my name, though we've not been introduced. Well, I'm the fool in love with the fool who's still in love with you. If you got a minute, I'll buy you a drink. I've got something to say. It might sound crazy, but last night in his sleep, I heard him call out your name. Well, this ain't the first time he's done it before, and it's hard to face the truth. I'm the fool in love with the fool who's still in love with you. Now I know love is a fragile thing, and I'm trying hard to make it last, but it ain't easy holding on to him when he's holding on to the past. Just one more thing before I go. I'm not here to put you down, but you don't love him, and that's a fact. Girl, I've seen you around, but you hold his heart in the palm of your hand, and it's breaking mine in two. 'Cause I'm the fool in love with the fool who's still in love with you. Yes, I'm the fool in love with the fool who's still in love with you. Sam Banks, Bryce Long, and I'm Marla Cannon-Goodman. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Interstate Music.
All right, so we're back. You're talking about pulling this idea from the nether, right? And this happens a lot for songwriters, I've heard over the years. So what I want to know from you is, do you start freaking out because you're singing this song that doesn't exist yet? But then maybe you think, well, this must exist already if I'm singing it. So do you start, like, trying to find out if the song already exists?
You know, I have this weird talent. And so ideas, you know, you can't copyright a hook
Right.
or an idea. And I mean, and so you don't want to get on somebody else's song for sure. But I have this thing, and I've had it ever since I was young, and my friends have all made fun of me for it. But if I start just making something up and singing it, singing a melody just from out of nowhere, my eyes start watering. I can like make myself cry by making up a song.
Okay.
And so if I start singing and I know instantly if my eyes start watering that it's something I've never heard before.
Wow. Incredible.
Which is pretty good. I mean, it's crazy. I've been doing it ever since I was a kid, though. That's how I used to get out of trouble. I would make up a song and make myself cry, and then go into my mom.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. Well, maybe a little. I can do the same thing, not with songs, but I can make myself cry, and Yeah, it helps with TikTok videos. I've learned.
Oh, I bet it does.